Hello folks. So today I've brought some of my recording equipment into my bedroom to cover a topic that I realize a lot of people have already covered, but I still see a lot of questions asked about reducing background noise when recording or streaming in an untreated room with maybe a computer or other noise in the background. There's a ton of info out there covering channel strips, software noise filters, noise gates, and there is a lot of talk about using the proper microphone, that kind of thing. And while I know mic placement has been covered lots as well, I'm still going to mostly talk about mic placement in this video. And I'm going to test out some very different microphones to show that mic placement is the most important factor, I think, in eliminating background noise. It's going to make a bigger difference than just about any other thing. Now, microphone type, noise gates, filters, room treatments, and as well as just eliminating or removing the sources of noise to begin with. Those are all important, those all help, but I think mic placement is key. So far I'm recording with the Countryman E6 earset microphone, which is actually an omnidirectional microphone. But since it is an earset mic, it's very close to my mouth, so it actually does a decent job. The first microphone on the desk is it's kind of the pinnacle of untreated space recommendations. It's the Shure SM7B. It's a dynamic microphone. It has excellent rejection of off-axis sounds, so it works pretty good in an environment with a lot of background noise. The other microphone I'll be using is the Lewitt LCT 440 Pure. That's a large diaphragm condenser microphone, and that's typically recommended for recording in a more controlled space. But they both do have cardioid pickup patterns, and so they'll both be less sensitive from the sides and from the back than they are from the front. So we're going to test them both out today and see how they do. Now I'm recording at my computer desk in my bedroom because I wanted to record in kind of a typical setting. This is an untreated room, but it does have carpet, furniture, and other stuff in here that breaks things up, so it really isn't too bad for an untreated room. I'm sure some people have a lot worse to work with, but my computer is right here on the desk, and it's an open case design. All the fans are running, so it's pretty loud. I also have my bedroom window open, so you may get a little bit of outside noises, birds, traffic, that kind of thing. I'm not going to do any processing or anything to artificially reduce the background noise. All the audio is going to be just raw as it was recorded. No gates, no noise reduction or anything like that. And I've got my computer turned on. I do have a mechanical keyboard, which is pretty noisy, and it doesn't really even matter what game it is, but I'm just going to play a game for a little bit, just so you can see how much the mouse clicks and the keyboard noises and stuff are picked up in the microphones. So I'll switch to recording with these two microphones, and we'll see how it sounds. Okay, so now I'm recording with both microphones. The Shure SM7B is on a stand on my desk here, and it is probably 12 to 18 inches from my mouth. And the Lewitt LCT 440 Pure is on this boom arm, and it is just an inch or two from my mouth. And the main difference that you get from that is that the gain on my interface for the Lewitt is set almost all the way down. I mean, I have the gain just barely even turned up, and it's still picking up my voice loud enough because the microphone is right next to my mouth. Whereas the gain on the SM7B is turned almost all the way up in order to get similar levels. So that basically just means that all of the background noises in this room, of which there actually aren't that many right now, pretty much just the computer, because even though I have my window open, it's surprisingly quiet outside right now. Usually I have birds or dogs or traffic or something coming in the window, but not right now. So you're probably just going to hear a little bit of room echo and the computer. But anyway, let's just get into the game so you can hear some clicking, some keyboard, some mice. And I don't have the game sounds on because normally you would have those in your headphones or whatever. So the game noises shouldn't be coming in the microphone typically. So just gonna kind of wander around a little bit here, and I don't know. You may notice this is a pretty old game, but whatever, doesn't matter for this, for these purposes. BioShock Infinite, if anybody's curious. But I do have a mechanical keyboard, like I said, and I'm sure you can hear the clicky clacking. You might be able to hear it in both microphones actually, but I'm sure you can definitely hear it in the Shure microphone because you can probably hear pretty much everything in this room with that microphone. Again, the Lewitt LCT 440 Pure, large diaphragm condenser, very sensitive microphone, gain turned almost all the way down. So you might be able to see here that even though it probably doesn't eliminate background noises as much as the Shure, it's doing probably a much better job right now, just due to the fact that it is so much closer to my mouth. And I know a lot of people film, themselves while they play a game or while they stream or whatever, and they don't want a microphone in the frame. And I kind of understand that, I guess, although, I wouldn't care. It's just something you're going to have to consider of, what kind of audio do you want? Do you want that sound of a microphone right up next to your mouth, or do you not want to see the microphone? Some people use a shotgun mic or something like that so they can put it a little bit further away and still get decent audio, or they'll just do a lot of room treatment and stuff like that so that they can have the microphone just out of frame and still get decent audio. But, in an untreated room, if you want decent audio, just getting the microphone just right up close to you is going to be your best bet by far. But anyway, we don't really have to belabor this point. I'm sure you've heard the keyboard, you've heard the mouse. You get some noises, you get an idea for what you're going to hear. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to switch out the microphones. I'm going to put the Lewitt on this stand, and I'm going to put the Shure on the boom arm, and we'll see how that sounds. Okay, so now I've got the microphone swapped out. I've got the LCT 440 Pure recording on the stand, and I've got the Shure SM7B on the boom arm. And we'll just, kind of mess around in the game a little bit more, and I'll switch back and forth some more, and you can see what the difference is. So now there is a bird kind of singing away out there, so maybe you can probably hear that. And again, I have to have the gains pretty far different. Now the gain on the SM7B I still didn't turn down all that far, just because it is a pretty insensitive microphone. But rather than having my interface basically maxed out, I'm at probably 75% or so. Maybe just a hair less than that, but probably about that. It's about 75%. But rather than almost all the way down on the Lewitt, I'm now actually at over 50%, probably closer to 60% on the gain. And that's just so that I can get the levels to be pretty similar to where they were before, with the microphone this much further away from my mouth. And again, my mouth is right up next to the Shure SM7B, and probably maybe 18 inches or so away from the Lewitt. So now just clicking on my keyboard and on my mouse again, starting to walk through the game. I'm sure you can hear that pretty well. And looks like I'm getting stuck on something. All right. And I'm not trying to be excellent at this game right now. I'm not even really I'm barely paying attention to what I'm doing. But just so that, if I walk around a little bit, you can see that the keyboard noises get picked up pretty heavy in the one microphone, and not very much at all actually in the other. And just so you know, I do this little stand, I actually have it sitting on a piece of foam so that it doesn't pick up as much of the desk noise, and I had that same setup with both of them. And actually, before I put the stand on that foam, the SM7B was actually picking up a hum, and what it was is it was actually picking up the very slight enough that I can't even feel it, vibration of my computer fans through the desk. So just yet another reason why you don't really ideally want your computer sitting on the desk. It'd be much better if it was on the floor under the desk, but still. I do have the stand sitting on some foam just to kind of eliminate that. Ooh, that's bright. So anyway, again, don't have to, spend a ton of time messing around with this. You can probably get an idea pretty quick as I switch back and forth, for the fact that with the microphone right up close to my mouth, it doesn't sound like a treated room, but it really doesn't sound all that bad. The keyboard noises are there, but they are not obnoxious. And, my voice comes through pretty well. Whereas even just 12 to 18 inches away, this microphone is just going to pick up the room noises quite a lot more, because you have to turn the gain up so high. And because your voice is further from the microphone, all of the other noises are going to compete with your voice quite a lot more. So honestly, that's pretty much it. Obviously the Lewitt is probably not the type of microphone that most people would recommend for a streamer, Large diaphragm condenser is going to be a lot more sensitive. It's going to pick up a lot more. But even that microphone does fairly okay in this room if placed right up next to my mouth. And in fact, it does quite a lot better than the Shure SM7B when next to my mouth if the Shure SM7B is far away. So that's pretty much it. If you want to eliminate background noise, most important thing is to get the microphone closer to your mouth. Like I said, room treatments, eliminating sources of background noise, that kind of thing is definitely going to help. But single biggest thing you can do to improve the ratio between your voice and background noise, just get that microphone closer and then turn the gain down. Again, if you want to get the microphone out of the frame, if you're wanting to record your face while you're gaming or streaming or whatever, then there's really no magic to it. You're just going to have to eliminate the sources of background noise. You're going to have to treat the room and do whatever you can so that there just really isn't anything else for your voice to compete with. That way you can turn your gain up and still get decent audio. So anyway, I hope that was helpful to somebody. If you have any questions or anything else you want me to test out in this kind of a scenario, just post it up down below. As always, thank you for watching. Take care.